Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. We're going to have a great time today. I am really excited to share with you my amazing guest. We have with us today Dorrie-Lenore Parsons. She lives just outside Boston with her husband and their rescue puppy. The best, the best. She is proud to be a fourth generation member of a family of theater people, mostly women. Dorrie became a director, set designer, and teacher of communication and performing arts before becoming a novelist. She is pleased to note that the fifth and sixth generations continue the tradition in performance. Her book, Becoming Hazel, so awesome, is the story of a member of that first generation of women who defied the odds and pushed back against the norms of society to become performers. Future generations appear in subsequent books in the Inherited Treasure series. First off, welcome, Dorrie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, me too, dear. First off, what inspired you to write Becoming Hazel? And are there any specific experiences or events that kind of influenced that in your life?
Well, um, I was really inspired to write the book when my mother passed away, and I inherited boxes and boxes of photographs, journals, and letters, and newspaper clippings, and most especially several Bibles, family Bibles. And I was going through them and I thought, oh my goodness, there are so many memories in here. This represents our family. And it was shortly before Christmas. And I thought, well, perhaps there's a story here that I can share with the family. And I thought, I'll write a short story. These photographs have inspired me to write a short story that I'll include with Christmas cards. Well, I got sidetracked, and when I started to look through the family Bibles, I realized that most of them belonged to my great grandmother Hazel, who was a very faithful person. But apart from being faithful, she was incredibly talented. She um, was um, disabled. She had a congenital spinal curvature and one shortened leg. But in spite of that, she became an accompanist for silent films. She became a suffragist and a champion for all women. And I thought, you know, I'm going to start here and I'm going to write her story because she was such an inspiring person.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So once you began this, how long did it take, and what did it feel like to put all this in writing?
It it just flowed out of me. I kept looking through the pictures and looking through the journals and finding letters of recommendation for my great grandmother that I didn't know existed. And I was so incredibly surprised to find them because they were from Texas and we were from California. And I always thought she was born in California. So it became a treasure hunt. And I started looking back through the Bible because people used to always write everything down in Bibles. And I started looking through the newspaper clippings and the journals, and then going back to the Bibles. And I figured out she wasn't born in California. She was born in Kalamazoo. And then I started looking through more of the artifacts and figured out, oh, yes, she ended up in Texas. And in fact, that's where she married my grandfather, my great grandfather. And that's where she started performing. And then I just had to figure out how she got to California. And I kept writing and looking back at the photographs, and it just flowed.
Wow. Um, and Hazel, I mean, an amazing story, very complex. Tell us a few things about Hazel that just really spoke to you and even drew probably your own emotion and made you think of your own experiences. What really touched you on her journey, her life?
She was she was so independent. She was so brave. She defied social norms. Her parents were determined that they would set her path. And that actually makes sense. She was born at the end of the 19th century. But more than that, because she was disabled, they were more determined than ever that she wouldn't have an opportunity to marry. To their credit, they educated her and they gave her, on top of that, lessons to become a classical pianist. Now, they didn't do it so that um, she would become a prize for someone in the normal way. They did it because they were afraid they'd be stuck with her. As it turned out, Hazel didn't want to become a bride. She just wanted to get away from them. And serendipitously, they sent her away to a healing spa um, because her mother had read a passage in the Bible that she felt told her that the healing waters would cure Hazel. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was the best thing that ever happened to Hazel because she met her future husband, who was 17 years older and 2 feet taller than she was.
Oh, wow. Oh, oh. And then from there, she moved on to, her career, her life. I mean, what an example for women, especially of that at that time.
Yeah,
What would you
she
say were some of the strength and examples that
she
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 did?
defied, not in a um not in a disrespectful way, but she defied her father and said, I'm going to have a career. I am going to find my own place to stay. I am going to make my own money. And after knowing Charlie for only a month, I'm going to marry this man. The other thing that she did is she worked using her own name. She always performed as Hazel Cunningham, not as Hazel Roberts. And this, again, was not disrespectful. It was just so that she could always be her own woman.
Wow. And I mean, in that time, I can only imagine the shock and, you know, what what reveled from that?
Her parents, particularly her father, was really worried. Um, she he was worried that she didn't know enough about this mysterious man who was from the hills of Appalachia. He had migrated from Newport, Tennessee to Austin, Texas under mysterious circumstances. Hazel knew very little about him, but she had fallen head over heels in love with him. He had very little education. He had learned to read from reading the Bible. He didn't go to school. Hardly anybody in Newport, Tennessee went to school, but he read anything he could get his hands on. And he loved Hazel to death. So she married him, but they didn't live together. He went back to Austin because he had a job there as a fireman, and she worked in mineral wells as an accompanist and as a concert pianist. And she became a suffragist.
Wow. Ah, so they didn't even live together.
Nope, not for quite a while.
Oh, ah,
They
and
eventually did.
uh-huh. And she grew her name and her career. And I can only imagine the influence that may have had on other women at that time.
Oh, yes. She, um, as I said, she was a suffragist. Um, so she fought for the rights of other people, of other women. That was very important to her. She also taught reading to other women because she thought that was important. Um, Her faith was of the utmost importance to her. She was a lifelong Methodist. She didn't drink. She she read her Bible every day. She took her faith very seriously. Um, she was um, she was determined to be a modern woman and to have a career. She'd gotten this far, and even though she was engaged and then married to Charlie, she didn't see why anything had to change.
Mhm.
People um, thought that the whole situation was kind of nuts. In fact, she didn't tell anybody that she had married him. Things just kind of went along until one day Charlie showed up. I don't want to give away too much, but it wasn't going to go along that way forever.
Yes, yes. And with, learning about and sharing, her experiences, resilience, did that have an effect on your life and trigger you to be resilient and
Oh,
and have a different attitude? What did that do for you personally, Dorrie?
oh my gosh. I knew Hazel. This was my great grandmother. And I used to sit next to her on the piano bench, and she would pound out hymn after hymn after hymn. And if I was very good, then she'd pound out ragtime for me. Oh, and was that a treat? She was amazing. She was this tiny little thing, and I loved her dearly. But I I didn't know her story at that time, but I knew she was somebody very special. Um, all of the women um, my great grandmother, um, my other great grandmother as well, my grandmother, all the women in my life um, have been strong and resilient, and all of them have pushed the boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. I recently this year found out that a family relative of mine was on the Titanic,
Oh,
passed away on the Titanic, and was able to read newspaper article and research. I had no idea, you know, learning what, family members have gone through, that can teach us so much, can it?
oh,
Opening up.
absolutely. About resilience, about independence, about the power we never knew we had.
Yeah.
But the women in my family have all been in the arts as well. And um, that continued with me
Hmm.
and with my children and with my grandchildren. And I'm very proud of that.
That is so exciting. That just kind of continued down the line. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it. What kind of research did you do to get a more of an understanding of the challenges in the early 20th century? What was that like? Was that pretty awakening?
It took a lot of research. Um, because what I write is historical fiction, it does involve a lot of research about details, about language, about food, about clothing, about tiny things like um, the kinds of little things like what soap did they use, what the weather might have been like, what transportation was like, because the tiny details are what make a book make sense to the reader. And also because I write about the arts, I needed to make sure that the music was correct, um, that the movie studios were correct, that the movies were correct, and oh, even things like the names. Names are very specific to eras. So I find myself stopping as I write to look up references for various things to make sure I'm on point. Um, it's frustrating sometimes, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
I love it. I love it. It's so fascinating. And um, do you believe that, stories of strong women like Hazel are important even today for other women out there even today?
I I think they're almost more important today because I think they give us hope. I think they give us strength. Um, I I think there are parallels to things that women are facing today. Um, Women didn't have the vote until 1920. Women, as of the early 70s, still couldn't hold a credit card or buy property. Um, and some of the rights that women got in the early 70s are being eroded again. So we still need to keep fighting. We don't want to go backwards.
Yes.
Um, so I think examples of some of these early crusading women are important for today. when we think about the fact that these women who had nothing, um, they were they had no rights, and um, terrible things happened to them when they were called awful names. They were thrown in prison um, for doing things as simple that were as simple as riding a bicycle. They were considered because their legs were spread apart. Um, when you think about that,
Oh
um,
my gosh.
one of the reasons why suffragists wore white was to prove that they were pure and they shouldn't be called names for fighting for their right to vote, to hold office, to sit on juries. And there were women who said, I shouldn't have to do this, but symbolism is important.
Mhm.
So it's interesting some of the things I learned as I was writing.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We are
Oh,
lucky that we have the rights we do.
yes, we really are. And Dory, would you like to share a little bit about, what's going to be in your next books in the Inherited Treasure series? Give us a little tidbit if you would.
Okay, there are four more books already published and one more that I'm finishing up. There are five books in the series. So, second book in the Inherited Treasures series, which is actually the second part of Becoming Hazel, is called Saints and Deceivers. Um, Hazel um, actually um, has her career cut short momentarily because she has a child and loses it, but is determined to start performing again. She gets her career up and running. She's so excited. She's playing in a much bigger venue. Everything is going great. And then the good Lord decides she's going to be a mother over and over and over again. And it's really rough on her body. Um, However, she's part of um, a loving church. Um, there are friends who are very supportive of her. One of the children she has is a twin who gets very ill. Hazel also becomes very ill, and they are forced to make a terrible decision about having to adopt or foster out one of the twins.
Mhm.
And then they are betrayed by the church member who to whom they have fostered the child, and they can't find their baby.
Oh my
That's the
God.
second book.
Yeah.
Um,
We have about 3 minutes left, Dory.
okay,
What
um,
last message you want to share with everyone? And do you have a website or anything you'd like to share?
I do. My website is dorrieparsonsauthor.com. It's interactive, and I would love to have people come onto the site and visit us. Do remember that there are five books in the Treasures series. Um, the other books are Hoofers and Who Hoofers and Hooch, book three, Gangsters and Reels, book four, and the fifth book is Finding Salvadora, which is out in February 2025.
Ah, that's so exciting. Oh my gosh. And I can only imagine that experience this has been for you writing these books. what you've learned and what you've, been able to share with people. That's amazing, Dorrie. I mean, this is so unique. Your series is so unique.
Well, thank you. This is the first book that we've been, oops, the light's on it. How can I get my ring light off of it? This is Becoming Hazel. This is the first book.
Love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Oh, Dorrie, this is just amazing. And, learning about Hazel and all she did and the examples she made for so many. I mean, that's really a touching story. And I'm really excited to help you share that.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. And to everybody out there, thank you for joining us. This has just been a pleasure and love, hugs, and blessings. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everyone. We have a new year coming very soon. So here's to an amazing new year for all of us. Love, hugs, and blessings.